It was November when Watford sent Everton a cease and desist letter over manager Marco Silva, but while the approaches stopped, so too have the results. In 11 games since that awkward period for the club, Watford have collected only 5 points, and in their latest outing were well beaten at the King Power Stadium. Keep this up and Silva will be overseeing a battle for survival soon enough. By contrast, Leicester have hit a rich vein of form, collecting 20 points in the same stretch to overtake Burnley in 7th and harden hopes for another European tour. Mola Wag had a game to forget. He conceded the penalty and left the field with a likely hamstring injury later in the match. Leicester star Riyad Mahrez wrapped up the points in stoppage time by scoring against Watford for a 5th consecutive game. Claude Puel was given that brief when taking over from Craig Shakespeare, and with Riyad Mahrez and Jamie Vardy back to their best, a place in the Europa League is very much on. Mahrez gave this win the score to reflect Leicester's superiority in added time. Receiving the ball from Adrien Silva, the Algerian sped into the area, twisted past Christian Cabasil and cut a pinpoint finish into far corner. Paul Gascoigne in the stands would have approved of the quick body swerve and delightful shot. Leicester had come racing out of the blocks, and Watford were indebted to 2 unlikely sources for the score remaining level past 7 minutes. Orestes Carnezes last featured for Watford when replacing the injured Araujo Gomez at Everton in November, and a late back spasm for the Brazilian thrust the deputy in again. So a good early save allowed Carnezes to push memories of that day at Goodison Park, when Watford lost from 2-0 up, to the back of his mind. Vardy had beaten Mola Wag for speed and strength when chasing Shinji Okazaki's high ball, then cut inside and hit a firm strike that Carnezes beat away. Soon after, it was Richarlison blocking a certain goal. Mahrez's free kick was headed back by Harry Maguire, and it seemed Wilfred Ndidi would tap home, but the Watford forward flung his body in the way. Abdoulaye Doucouré hit a clean shot from 20 yards that Kasper Schmeichel needed to be alert to hold, but the Leicester goalkeeper could do nothing to stop Troy Deeney's finish in the 34th minute. Visitors Watford had the ball in the net first, but 29-year-old striker Troy Deeney's first half effort was ruled out for offside. Deeney looked dejected as he approached referee Lee Probert to discuss the decision, which saw his goal disallowed. Another key decision went against Watford before half-time, as Vardy was given a penalty after being fouled by Wag. Fox's frontman Vardy was brought down by Wag's sliding challenge as defender Christian Cabasil watched. Unfortunately for Leicester, the offside flag had been raised, so Deeney's celebrations were cut short. Replays showed it was a marginal call as to whether Maguire's back leg was playing Deeney onside from Cabasil's flick on, but with no video referee in action, Watford's appeals were muted. There was no need for a second look when referee Lee Probert awarded Leicester a penalty a couple of minutes later. Vardy collected a pass from Mahrez and played a 1-2 with Matt James, whose through ball was as sharp as a Frankie Boyle joke. With Vardy into the area, nobody had given Wag the memo that going to ground would be a bad idea. It was a clumsy, foolish tackle, and Vardy was too quick and smart. Probert pointed to the spot without hesitation. It was the 13th Premier League penalty won by Vardy, more than any other player since the start of the 2014-15 season. Vardy took it, and rather than ploughing absolute power, as he tends to do from 12 yards, he slid it accurately into the bottom right corner. He had clearly been practicing after missing in the League Cup shootout against Manchester City. The decision to award the penalty was correct, but that did not stop Wag from protesting by wagging his finger at an official. Vardy converted the penalty to register his 11th goal of the season in all competitions, his 10th in the Premier League. England international Vardy was delighted, and he celebrated by jumping high and punching the air as Foxes fans applauded. Premier League icons Peter Schmeichel, dad of Leicester goalkeeper Casper, and Paul Gascoigne watched on from the stands. Fans who stayed at the King Power Stadium until the end were treated to a fine finish from Mahrez, who fired home. Left-footed Mahrez, who wheeled away to celebrate by the corner flag, has now scored 8 Premier League goals so far this season.